Welcome to another edition of Mark's Inspiration. Got the D-Man here, and I'm glad you could join me as always today. And in St. Louis, Missouri, it's a beautiful day today. The birds are singing, the sun is shining. Hope it's wonderful in your world wherever you are today. And the topic today is resilience, a continuation from an article I got from the American Psychological Association. We will continue with that because resilience is important in your achievement of desires. The ability to bounce back in the face of seemingly insurmountable obstacles that have knocked you down on the ground. You must get back up. Never give up. Never give up. Always get back up and keep moving forward. You are not defeated. You are just delayed a little bit. So here we go. Find purpose. Smash that like button and subscribe. Find purpose. Help others, whether you volunteer with a local homeless shelter or simply support a friend in their own time of need. You can garner a sense of purpose, foster self-worth, connect with other people, and tangibly help others, all of which can empower you to grow in resilience. You want to raise your self-esteem? Do esteemable acts. You want to raise your self-worth? Do worthy acts. It's simple. Be proactive. It's helpful to acknowledge and accept your emotions during hard times, but it's also important to help you foster self-discovery by asking yourself, what can I do about a problem in my life? If the problems seem too big to tackle, break them down into manageable pieces. It's easy to get overwhelmed when you think of all the things you have to do, all the things you have to get done. I felt that myself many times. One day when I was starting this YouTube channel, I was so frustrated. I got to do this, this, and this. And my 17-year-old son said, Dad, just do this first. And I thought, how profound. I know that. Do the next right thing. But yet we think about everything we have to do, and we can't do it all at once, but we become overwhelmed. Just do the next right thing, the next step that moves you closer to your goals. Okay? For example, if you got laid off at work, you may not be able to convince your boss it was a mistake to let you go. There are no mistakes. Nothing happens in God's world by mistake. Man makes plans and God laughs. I think that's funny. But I always want to say, whatever your conception of God is, it's like my father. My father has passed on now. I have the same father as my brother, but we each have different perceptions of my father as a man. We each view him differently from different viewpoints. We each see him differently. Same father, different perceptions. But you can spend an hour each day developing your top strengths or working on your resume to find a new job. Taking initiative will remind you that you can muster motivation and purpose even during stressful periods of your life, increasing the likelihood that you'll rise up during painful times. And how do men of great rise up during painful times? They fight their way through adversity. And who is the fight with? No one on the outside, it's the inside. He who conquers himself is greater than he who takes a city. Think about that one. Move toward your goals. Develop some realistic goals, and I say have some unrealistic ones too. And do something regularly, even if it seems like a small accomplishment. That enables you to move toward the things you want to accomplish, instead of focusing on tasks that seem unachievable. Ask yourself, what's one thing I know I can accomplish today that helps me move in the direction I want to go. For example, if you're struggling with the loss of a loved one and you want to move forward, you could join a grief support group in your area. Take the next right step. Martin Luther King quote, "You don't have to see the whole staircase, just take the next step, and then the rest will be revealed to you, or the light will grow as you go." I just came up with that one, but I'm sure someone said that before. The light will grow as you go. Look for opportunities for self-discovery. People often find that they have grown in some respect as a result of struggle. For example, after a tragedy or hardship, people have reported better relationships and a greater sense of strength, even while feeling vulnerable. That can increase their sense of self-worth and heighten their appreciation of life. I know I've been through some hard times, some depressions. I remember one day I was finishing this Airbnb, and I was so depressed that I just had to make myself get up from my desk and go down and do one more thing. And I would do that and come back up and sit in my chair at the desk, and I was exhausted. And then I would conjure up enough strength to go down and do one more thing. I mean, it was drudgery. That's what we call trudging the road of happy destiny. Sometimes you trudge, but from those times, I found a greater appreciation and a greater joy in life. You can't know the extreme highs of life that I've been so fortunate to experience unless you know the extreme lows of life. Both my parents passed away in the last 6 or 7 years, which is normal of a man of my age, but still I miss them, and it's difficult, and I had to go through the grief of that and other things. As many of you know, I've been married 4 times. Very difficult. I walked away from each of those marriages. The first one, I messed that up because I was a young man partying and drinking in my 20s. She was a great woman, but the last 3, they all disrespected me, mistreated me, and I finally walked away. I just had to walk away from it. Now, they all wanted me back later, then they appreciated me. But that's human nature. We don't appreciate what we have until it's gone. And I've done that myself, not passing judgment on anyone. And all of those people, every woman that I've ever loved and that has loved me, they have all helped me. Even when they treated me badly, they were showing me to myself. No one can treat you badly unless you feel like you deserve that. We teach people how to treat us. So take the word blame out of your vocabulary. Look within yourself. If someone is disrespecting you, you have first disrespected yourself. You have taught the other person to treat you that way. Everyone is your teacher and your mentor. You just have to perceive them as that. They are telling you something. You need to listen. Embrace healthy thoughts. Keep things in perspective. How you think can play a significant part in how you feel and how resilient you are when faced with obstacles. Try to identify areas of irrational thinking, such as a tendency to catastrophize difficulties or assume the world is out to get you, and adopt a more balanced and realistic thinking pattern. For instance, if you feel overwhelmed by a challenge, remind yourself that what happened to you isn't an indicator of how your future will go, and that you're not helpless. You may not be able to change a highly stressful event, but you can change how you interpret and respond to it. And I'll use this example. I may have talked about this the other day, but we were on the job the other day and I was training my younger son, Frank. And he was working in the bathroom. I think I did speak about it. Anyway, he fell and broke the pedestal stool, or the pedestal sink, which was bad enough. Okay, the loud crash, the homeowners downstairs, he heard it. But it broke the water lines, so we have water running all over the floor. And guess what? The basement is finished. So there's drywall down there. So if we don't get the water shut off, it's going to ruin the ceiling in the basement. So long story short, it did ruin some of the ceiling. And of course we had to replace the pedestal sink. But my mind starts racing about how much it's going to cost. The owner's going to be mad, etc., etc., etc. Okay, but I had to stop myself and think, well, maybe it won't be that bad. Maybe we can dry it up. Maybe I'll just have to paint it and fix some spots. We did have to replace some of the drywall on the ceiling, but it could have been so much worse had the homeowner not been there and I had not known where the shutoff valve was. The water would have run for a really long time, and it probably would have ruined most of the ceiling in the basement. And this is a giant home, so it could have been something I had to turn into my insurance. As it stands now, I'll probably just have to do maybe $1,000 or $1,500 repairs, maybe less. But my mind wanted to race to worst case scenario in the moment of this seeming tragic experience, when the water's running and the sink's broken all over. Fortunately, my son was okay. He wasn't cut or hurt because that porcelain's strong. So you had to look for the good in these things. And I also, once we got the water off and the immediate emergency was taken care of, I had to start thinking of how this can be helpful to me. If I get through this with grace and really work it out with the homeowner, this will be a character building opportunity for me, an opportunity for growth, an opportunity to be able to handle a crisis situation and to manage things. So by looking at it that way, instead of looking at it, I figures I was going to make some good money on this job, and now it's going to cost me a couple $1,000. There goes the profit. I mean, I could have went that way, and I'm not telling you that my mind didn't want to start down that path, but I did not allow it to. I put positive thoughts in there. I looked for the good in the situation. And yes, there is good in every situation. My son's car, he blew the motor up the other day because he forgot to check. He didn't forget to check the oil. I don't know what happened. It had a leak or something. So now he doesn't have a car. And he uses that to help the company. So we'll have to figure out something there. I can't see the good in that yet, but it's there. All right. If nothing else, he'll be more opt to change and check the oil in the future. Accept change. Accept that change is a part of life. Certain goals or ideals may no longer be attainable as a result of adverse situations in your life. Accepting circumstances that cannot be changed can help you focus on circumstances that you can alter. Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, which is usually me and what's inside of me, and the wisdom to know the difference. Maintain a hopeful outlook. It's hard to be positive when life isn't going your way. An optimistic outlook empowers you to expect that good things will happen to you. Try visualizing what you want rather than worrying about what you fear. Worry is faith in reverse. Worry brings about what you're worrying about. You're projecting what you don't like with the projector of your mind. It's a vision of coming attractions. Change your worry to what you want. Put that vision in your head. Replace the worry vision with a vision of what you desire in your life, which is usually the opposite of what you're worrying about. Along the way, note any subtle ways in which you start to feel better as you deal with difficult situations. These things will work for you, but you have to work them. You have control, complete control over what goes on between your ears, in your mind, in your mind's eye. You are the king of your kingdom. And whatever you allow within the kingdom of your mind will be projected into your outer world. It will manifest itself objectively. Your subjective world manifests itself objectively in your outer world. That's all we have time for today. I gotta go. Thanks for joining me.